Sometimes our minds are our greatest oppressor. Watch this video and find out how that oppression can run your life. Why are people so terrible? I don't get it. Can't we just love and uplift and celebrate and be in service of one another? Is that so hard? It's easier than being so evil. Oh, right. It's because we keep clicking on it. If you keep clicking on it, it's gonna keep coming. If you don't stop clicking on the negativity, it'll keep being posted and forwarded and shared, and the darkness is spread instantaneously around the world over and over again. I know it's hard to resist all the drama and the fear and the what's gonna happen next, but if you keep clicking on it, it's gonna keep coming. So we have to purposefully click on the things we want to see in the world. Stop forwarding, stop posting, stop sharing that crap. Please. I know it's hard to do, but that's another video. I'm getting off track here. Please like and subscribe. If you belong to a marginalized group, Muslims, this, Jews, that, Asians, blah, 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 immigrants and trans and disabled, you name it. If you belong to a marginalized group, someone's talking about you, trashing you, making assumptions about you, and applying negative stereotypes to you that are hard to hear. And more importantly, they're hard not to hear. As you hear the negative thoughts about you, be careful that they don't sink in. You don't absorb them. You'd be surprised how much of that noise gets in and starts to run your life. We're talking about internalized oppression, and I've divided this episode into 3 parts. This is part 2 of 3, how internalized oppression can show up, how it manifests, and how it can run your life. You can watch these 3 videos out of order, but make sure you watch all 3 to get a full immersive experience. Have a look and see if this is you. You may have internalized some of those hateful things you're hearing about others, about you. Also, check out the description for a full list of episodes in this season, as well as other resources. Allow me to help you walk with your lions. If you're like me, you've got plenty of them. Let's go. I call them lions. Life challenges, unchanging circumstances. It's more than a metaphor. It's a way of life. America is a living example of how beliefs and mindsets established by a dominant culture can impact lives across generations. Many people of color hold negative beliefs and thoughts about themselves because of the social norms, social narratives, and historical events that are pervasive in America. America has devoted hundreds of years supporting an agenda to cause Black people to think, feel, and expect less of themselves. So in other words, we feel bad about ourselves, and then in some cases, we might actually expect less of ourselves. And that's happening subconsciously. So you might go to school and be told you're dumb, believe you're dumb, and then not try because you think you're dumb. This is what happens. This is real. I've been in those schools. I have worked with those students, and it is devastating, the things that they have had to unpack within their lives. And it plays itself out in many, 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 many ways. And I'm saying this not just for Black people, because everyone in the world at some point is going to have a negative belief about themselves because of what they're taught by the culture around them. Sometimes even people in the dominant culture are feeling bad things about themselves. However, we're specifically talking about internalized oppression that comes from the dominant culture of whatever marginalized group that you're in. So it's no surprise that Black children are prevalent in cases related to mental health, suicide, low academic achievement, and high school dropouts. Here are the resulting key issues that are backed up by statistics. I'm not going to get into the numbers right now, but these are the issues that come up because of internalized oppression in communities of color. Higher suicide rates. Black adolescents, especially males, have a higher suicide rate compared to other racial groups. Increased suicide attempts. Suicide attempts by Black adolescent girls have increased significantly. Mental health challenges. Black youth experience higher rates of depression, anxiety, and other stress-related mental health challenges. Lower treatment rates. Despite experiencing mental health challenges, Black youth are less likely to seek or receive mental health treatment compared to their white counterparts. I have seen this play out in schools for many, 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 many decades. Black people just do not reach out for mental health support like white people do. And that is partly due to our internalized oppression. There are many factors involved, but for sure, internalized oppression plays a large role. Disparities in diagnosis. Black youth may be misdiagnosed to have their mental health concerns overlooked due to a lack of cultural competency and racial bias within the healthcare system. People believe that Black people don't behave, so when young people do misbehave based on mental illness, that can be misdiagnosed as just bad behavior as opposed to having a real mental issue. Young people are shot dead because they're having an episode of some mental issue that the people that come to the scene see as violence that is expected because of their unconscious bias of Black teens. We see this happen all the time. Not good, is it? Trauma. Black youth are more likely to report traumatic experiences and may be at higher risk of developing PTSD. Yeah, we can develop PTSD by just living as a Black person because of how people treat us, look at us, talk about us, think about us, behave around us. You can't turn on the news without hearing something bad about Black people. And it'll be hard to navigate that and not begin to believe the crap you're hearing deep inside of yourself unconsciously. This is a real problem in many communities. COVID-19 impact. Here's a big one. I shouldn't laugh, it's so horrible. But COVID-19 was a really big deal and impacted the communities of color in a really horrible way. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated mental health challenges for Black youth, including increased rates of depression, anxiety, and stress. Systemic inequities. Racism, poverty, and cultural mistrust of the healthcare system contribute to disparities in mental health care for Black youth, and for that matter, Black people. The Black community is much less likely to trust the medical care system than other groups. I know this firsthand because of my family. There were some members of my family that did not get vaccinated because they did not trust the vaccine because of their personal, real experiences with the healthcare system. These are horrible things that happen that I've been aware of and that I've lived through with my family. And this is a direct result of internalized oppression and the things we hear every day in the news and the things we experience in our lives. There are people I love deeply in my family that have ignored doctors' orders and don't believe that the doctors they work with are telling them what they know because of experiences they had as children growing up through Jim Crow that scarred them and took away the trust of any kind of authority. Politicians, police, firemen, people that work on your car, anyone that helps you. There are people that I love deeply who I have grown up with and who I've known all of my life who don't trust anyone or anything, and therefore do not take medication, do not follow doctor's orders, and are less healthy. And some have died. You ever thought about that? If we widen our lens to the world around us, we see things that we wouldn't otherwise see. That's what DEI really is all about. It's about just being aware. Be aware that things that you don't even have to think about impact others in huge ways. That's all. Increasing empathy. That's what DEI was supposed to do. It was not rolled out properly. People were not sincere about it. It has backfired terribly, and the work still must be done. It's just good business. If you're not widening your lens of awareness of the people around you, you're not selling your products to people that might benefit from you, you lose money. So I digress, but that's that. And this video is not about that. However, it's absolutely related. The root causes of internalized oppression can be seen in our daily lives. Long-term exposure to societal discrimination can have a long-lasting effect. Negative media representation can reinforce a global stereotype about specific groups of people. Hello? People keep saying immigrants in the same sentence as criminals, as drug dealers, as gang leaders. So people begin to think in their crazy unconscious minds that all immigrants are rapists, drug dealers, and gang leaders. Come on, people, wake up. Even someone with marginalized intelligence can understand that not every single person who comes to this country is a gang leader who should be shipped off to some island in a prison camp. We know this. So no matter what they say, when they keep saying it and they say it and they say it, tell yourself it's not true. Otherwise, you begin to believe it, and that those people are dehumanized, and you don't care if they go down there and rot, and they might be totally innocent. They just were in the car with someone who might have been undocumented, who had a tattoo, and now they're in a prison camp. This is not the way forward. That is not going to make the world better. Because as I keep saying, one tribe, one world, one planet, one love. Those are our brothers and sisters. We might never know them. We might never have any impact on their lives, and they may never impact ours directly. But they are one of us. And their life experience led them to where they are, and they do not deserve to be shipped away without their due process. That is a result of this kind of internalized oppression that we all can be susceptible to in how we think and make decisions about our lives. Cultural and familial reinforcement can shape limiting beliefs or strong values that are not open to change, no matter how dire the consequences. A young person born into the world as a gay person who finds himself in a family that is religious is gonna have some challenges, and those challenges may follow that child for the rest of their lives. They may internalize the depression that they learn from religion, and they may live a life that is less fulfilling or worse. Educational and institutional biases create societal norms about intelligence and connection with specific identities, which are not grounded in truth or real scientific evidence. Teachers may have an unconscious bias that kids of color are less intelligent, less able, less capable, so they recommend things that are less valuable to them. They may assume that a child doesn't even want to go to college, when in fact that child might be having some undiagnosed mental issue. Internalized oppression can manifest as self-doubt, low self-esteem, and behaviors that perpetuate systemic inequities. Self-fulfilling prophecies are often unhealthy outcomes of internalized oppression. I'm not intelligent, I can't study, I'm not going to study, when all they have to do is study. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Instead of understanding that studying can be hard, just study. If you study, you get better at studying. Internalized oppression can also be passed down through the family tree. Light skin, dark skin, good hair, good body, bad body. I've heard it all in my family, and I had to work really hard not to adopt those thoughts and beliefs that came from their trauma as they came up through the world through Jim Crow. Some families grow up in a home where they are talked down to and verbally abused on a regular basis. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're in a family that's abusive, you might internalize some of that oppression. When kids are hearing these negative comments about them, or they're experiencing this violence in the home, that will absolutely impact their self-worth, their values, how they behave, how they think, and how their life unfolds. It's impossible to be unaffected by a family that is abusive to you. That can become internalized oppression. And this can lead to extremely self-destructive behavior if not addressed properly with the appropriate help. Internalized oppression is as complex as it is troublesome. There are many forms of internalized oppression experienced across different power dynamics. Internalized racism. Some individuals of a racial or ethnic minority accept and believe in the negative stereotypes about their own group. Many people believe that because of their complexion, they will never be loved or accepted. Or like me, I thought I looked like a monkey. I believed this, and it took me a long time to understand that I didn't. And there were things I did in my life that were a direct result of having that belief. I accepted the negative stereotype of the group I belonged to. I hate that I did that. I feel terrible and embarrassed and ashamed that I did that. But I understand why, and I see it happening all the time to other people. Internalized sexism. Some women or gender minorities adopt misogynistic beliefs leading to self-doubt and limiting behavior. They may feel constant danger or fear when alone. Worse, I have seen this happen. Young women may not try to do things that they can do because they don't even realize they're not trying because they're not a man. That is awful to say. I have seen this happen in my life. I was actually at a workshop where I asked women, why are there not more female choreographers? And a young lady said, because I think that men are conditioned to be in the front of the room and women are not. So it takes an extra effort for some women to have the confidence or even the idea to want to choreograph. Now that's not a scientific belief. I don't back that up with science, but I have had conversations with young dancers who have told me this. So at least in one case, there is one person that felt like that. Internalized homophobia. Some LGBTQ plus individuals accept negative societal attitudes towards their own identities. They may feel dirty or unlovable because of who they are. I've heard people in my community use words that reveal that they have inherited the negative views about themselves by the things that they say. For example, being a feminine man feeling bad about themselves, being a masculine woman feeling bad about herself, as if it mattered how masculine or feminine that you were. That's inherited misogyny. The idea that masculinity is here and femininity is here is because of male-female misogyny. So a female who's masculine has upgraded herself, and a man who dares to be more feminine has downgraded himself. These are ways people think and talk and behave because they have internalized the oppression that has been given to them by the dominant culture. Deep stuff. Internalized ableism. Some disabled individuals believe and reinforce prejudices against themselves. They start believing they are helpless and useless, forcing them into isolation. Internalized classism. Some individuals from lower socioeconomic backgrounds feel inferior due to societal biases about wealth and status. Therefore, they don't set the bar high enough for their future. Yes, it's a crazy world, but that does not mean we have to be swept up into the crazy. We can be swept up in our love, and our light, and our service and unity with each other. One tribe, one planet, one world, one love, one community, who all want the same thing. Love. Am I crazy? Come on. No, I'm not. It's just that money and power has distracted us and has made some people very, very greedy. It's shocking the amount of desire that someone can have for things when in fact, life is love in the now. It's together, it's unity, it's community. It's what really drives us. I want to believe we can get back to that and stay in that, and that love and light of each other can tip the scales in the favor of love and light. And we can have our arguments about how to do things and how much goes to who, and we can have our power. And I'm not shaming people that work hard for their money. But after the first 100 million, after the first billion, seriously, I'm not sure I get that. Maybe if I was there, I would feel the same way and I would want things and more and more and more. I don't know. I hope not. Certainly not at the stake of other people and the world and the planet. It's mind-boggling. How do we get through this? Self-awareness. Self-awareness, reflection, optimism, authenticity, and resilience. Roar. That's why I'm making these videos, because I want to believe we can get through this. There is another way. Without greed, without destroying others, without making others wrong, without othering, there is plenty to go around. We can have our fame, our fortune, and our millions, and we can also make sure that everyone else has a chance at their dreams, whatever they may be. Don't you want to live in a world like that? That's why you're watching. Let's walk with our lions in reflection, optimism, authenticity, and resilience. Live the life you want, that of love and light, where dreams come true. You can. You can. Next up is episode 5, part 3, where we get into how to overcome internalized oppression and walk with the lions it causes. Once posted, it'll be here, and the full episode list will be there. Also, check out the description for a full list of episodes in this season. Remember, one planet, one tribe, one world, one love. Don't you want to live in that world? That's where I want to live. This is Roar Season 2. I'll see you there.